went away. Okay, well, for people who don't really know me, my real name is William Montagna. I go by Bill. Unless you're my family, like my sisters and somebody date, I don't know why they like to call me Billy, but you're not allowed. I am no longer Billy after I hit 21. So, little background. So, I had to look some of this stuff up. It's crazy, just so I can like give you accurate information. It's like I started my business in 2006, just as a DBA, and after 2 years, I knew I was going to go ahead and do it. So in 2009, I incorporated, so it's an S Corp. I am home-based, so I don't have brick and mortar. Don't try to come over there and buy things from me or harass me. I won't answer, and I do have a lot of protection. So
we just want your beard.
Yeah, for your own protection, don't come harass me. It's happened twice, by the way. But yeah, long story, I won't tell today. But so yeah, so I started in 2006, and in 2009 I incorporated, and then I had to look because I was wondering. Everyone always asks how long have we been in these groups. I actually did it the same year I incorporated. So in February of 2009 is when I first signed up for this group. And the reason I found this group was because I was in another group in Mansfield with a lot of some of the older people in this group. They said, hey, since I was in BNI got dissolved. They referred me here, and I've been here ever since. So it's been a long time. I can't believe I've been here that long.
Getting old.
Yeah, sure. Time flies. So I am in my 50s. So yeah. Okay, back to this. So, company's name is Climate Experts AC and Heating Inc. It's officially Inc. And like I said, I've been in business since 2006 to 2009. And we do residential, light commercial, HVAC. That's heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. The ventilation means your ductwork. It's very important. Your filtration, a lot of people forget about it. It's very important. The V is for ventilation. It means your ductwork. Most people don't even know what HVAC means. That's why it's in all capital letters. So there you go. So that's one thing I'll touch on, is the best thing that you can do for yourself at your house is your own maintenance. If you want to change your filters monthly, if you have a 1-inch filter, you can change your larger filters like a few of you have in your houses and some of you in your small businesses. So I do light commercial. You have a box filter, we call it media filter. Those are like 4 to 6 inches wide. You can change those twice a year. If your house is dust-free and you don't have a lot of pets, you can probably change them, you know. Well, you don't have to change them as often. Well, there's doctor's offices. There are places that have really clean houses, like no carpet, and they hardly live there. So really, I say change them as needed. But those box filters you can do once a year, twice a year, or 3 times a year. That's why it's always specific to someone's home or business, how often they change your filters. But the 1-inch filters, the little basic filters, those have to be changed monthly in high peak times. I mean, if you're not using your AC like about this time of year for a month or so, you can probably get away with every other month. But it's crazy. I try not to call people out. I know some people might get offended, so usually I just use these dirty filters I find as like the worst case scenarios, and I post them on Facebook and stuff just to remind people with no names. It's totally generalized. There's some one I found the other day wasn't changed since 2018. I asked the customer, I said,
come on, Corey, what the heck?
He hasn't serviced my AC at home.
That was the one in my office.
Yeah, I don't think I was at your office, but
And
it's
I changed
crazy
the ones at your
how
office when I
sometimes
owned the
people
building.
just don't know. I mean, they're not aware. They moved into the house maybe the first time. They came from an apartment or a townhome. They never changed their own filters. This woman moved into her house in 2018, and it's funny, I asked her, I said, well, how long have you been living here? She said 2018. Usually people are not dishonest on purpose. I think people are embarrassed. They said, I just changed that last month. I don't know how I got that dirty. Well, it says 2018, right on the filter. 2018 was written on the filter, so she bought the house, she never knew it was there. And that's why she had water on her floor, and her AC wasn't working very well, and I'm pretty sure for the last 3 years, her AC probably wasn't working as near as good as it is now just by changing your own filter. So the only other things that some people are capable of doing is going outside, rinsing off your outdoor unit, because they also get dirt on it. You can do that once a year, twice a year. Especially if you're in North Arlington and areas where there's still a lot of woods around. It's not many, but yes, cottonwood is horrible those, if you have heavy cottonwood, you need to wash it real good and then go to Home Depot or somewhere and get one of the roll or short roll or a long piece of nylon screening you would put on your screen as like a screen door, something with little larger holes than normal, not real tight, and use some medium-sized magnets and pull it around your condenser with magnets. So anytime it gets dirty, you just pull it off, wash it, put it back on, so you're not trying to do a heavy cleaning on the coil itself. Because if they get really impacted really bad, they're going to be hard to clean without taking it apart and using chemicals. Which then I won't, suggest you do it yourself. We could do it then if it gets that bad. So other than the regular things we do, we run service, which right now my prices are $99.99, what we call a diagnostic trip charge. So you call me, we set an appointment and come to your home, and I tell you what's wrong with your unit, give you some options. Now, I'm not a pressure company, so if I go out there and give you a diagnostic and you decide you want to shop it around, or you can't afford the repair or the replacement, then I'll gladly accept your diagnostic, hold it for 30 days. Even on the repair, if you accept the repair, I guarantee at least for 30 days I'm not going to charge you for coming back. We got to make another adjustment or we find the second thing wrong, which happens sometimes. And then I have a flat rate pricing, which varies. It's like a la carte. Anything that needs a repair has a specific price. If I don't have it or haven't put it in, then I have a multiplier. But we try not to be the highest, in neighborhood, which we aren't. But we're also not going to be the cheapest, because if you want quality work, it doesn't matter that I'm a small one-man show with no brick and mortar. I still have to do the job so where we can give you quality work, but not a taillight warranty. We got to warranty your work. If you want us to be able to say we're going to put this in for X amount of dollars and we're giving you a year warranty, that when you call us, we're going to come out there outside of 30 days for another chip charge, or we're going to change the part for free. And that's what we do. But a lot of people, they undercut equipment, parts, and they come to your house and they put it in. If they're doing it super cheap, good luck getting them to come back and do a repair later, because once they forget about you, you forgot about them, you call them back, they're going to just put you on a 3-week, we might be there, and they'll just never come. They'll just gotta, like home warranties, where they hope to keep pushing you out to a point where you gotta keep paying full price again. But we do more than just repair and replace units. And we are a full service, fully licensed HVAC contractor. I try to keep up with the newest stuff and keep training. I have some of the best tools. We can give you detailed reports. The stuff I use mostly, unless I'm doing a quick repair, everything comes through my iPad or my phone, so my gauges are actually digital. So all the stuff I'm doing is a whole house evaluation. And if you need a report, say you're selling a house, buying a house, or you may be from out of the state, you have some rental houses, and you want a report, or when we commission a new system, we can actually literally not only give you some snapshots of what the actual system was doing at the moment, gauge shots of all the temperatures, the climate, everything. We can actually print out something that actually shows you what it looked like that day. So you have something to go back and look at again and say, see, this is what it was. I know a month later you may have had something happen to the leak, but when we left, we have digital proof that you can either give the customer or the real estate company. So we try to do things, we're up to date, we might be small, but we do, because I'm small and I am the guy, I always have the best tools. You have a company full of employees, they can't always afford the best tools, so I have the best tools. I'm a guy too, I have good tools. So, outside of repairs and replacements, which I'll do another one of these in a month or two, where we can go, on about equipment and equipment choices, but I don't have enough time today. But we do things, so don't think about me just when your stuff breaks down, or just when you think you might need a replacement. We can come upgrade your thermostats to Wi-Fi. We find a lot of people who get new systems for whatever reason. There's a big gap between the guy who comes out to your house, typically does your diagnostic, decides you need another system. He sends out a salesman. They sell you a system. Then they send out an install crew that comes out. And most of them, I'm not saying all, but most of them just know how to put in the equipment. They are not technicians. They have no idea what 2-stage variable speed means, and they usually put the wrong thermostat on. It runs your system. But if you're going to buy a high-end system, I come across systems that I didn't put in, and I'm looking at the system and I'm doing maintenance or a repair and notice that somebody's got like a single stage, just basic thermostat, and they're not using even, you know, they're losing about 30% of their options they can use on a variable speed system that you can set the fans indoor and outdoor to the speed, so you're using low gas, low AC, high AC. They don't even have a 2-stage thermostat on there. So someone got sold something that cost about probably $4,000 more at the time. They don't even know for years, they haven't even been using it. I mean, it's very important if you have 2-stage equipment and equipment that's set up to where you can use a thermostat that actually has not just what the humidity is outside, like you see on Ecobee and Nest. This literally has humidity that you can set for your home's envelope where you want your comfort settings, and it will decide whether to run in high stage, low stage, and where to put the fan speeds so it can pull more moisture out of the air. On days where you might like it 76, but your humidity might be in the 60s, it will turn itself on down to 73. If you don't have that stuff, you just wasted your money. And speaking of which, if people sell you a system because they're selling you the most expensive system in the world, if they stick it in a tight closet with the old ductwork, you're not getting the SEER ratings. I mean, when it leaves the lab, it's kind of like a car. They test these cars without seats in them and all the junk's not on it and it's real light, then they give you the gas mileage. Well, it's the same thing. Whenever an AC system could be the best in the world, it could be 24 SEER, but once it leaves the lab, it's probably already 21. And by the time it gets installed in an environment that's not conducive to the system, it's just the equipment. If you don't look at the ductwork, the thermostats, the settings, then you're down now to, you know, back to a 16 SEER. You might as well have bought a 16 SEER single stage unit and we got just as much out of it and save $4,000. So you gotta be careful when people sell you stuff, make sure it can fit your home. I will not sell you something that, say, it's in your closet. The closet's too small to change the ductwork because you have the typical upflow that you see in a closet that has a little grill underneath it. It might be the core side of the room. Those you can't put 2-stage variable speed in the closet and expect it to work right. You need to put it, even though we don't like to put them in attics. Attics are hot, gotta do a lot of work up there, but you should spend the extra $2,000 to $3,000 to upgrade your ductwork. Even though budget-wise, if that's too much out of your budget, then I'm gonna say, hey, let's go back to the 14 SEER or single stage 16 SEER, like we put in your office, because you can still save a lot. And just don't overspend for things you can't use. That's all I'm saying. It's like someone buying a hybrid car, but they drive to Houston every day or somewhere really long trips. I mean, it's probably not gonna be worth it. It's more of a round the town kind of car. It's just been buy something that fits your needs, and that's what I would sell you. And we also do PHI lights, UV lights, added whole house humidifier, dehumidifiers. So if you have allergies and stuff, also something that always can't be done to an existing system, but when you're buying a new system, tell the people that, you know, selling you the system that you have allergies, or you have people there that you know, may get sick more often. We have these lights that are hospitals use in a smaller, it's smaller, compact. They're not like the high, you know, they have giant ones in the hospital, but they're called PHI lights. All right, so we can sell you those lights. We can put those in anytime, humidifiers in anytime. But sometimes when you're buying a new system and getting your ducts upgraded, that's when you should upgrade your filtration systems. Get a media filter instead of a 1-inch filter. Add another return. Get some of them hot rooms taken care of. You should do that up front. So now the last thing, since he said I only had 2 more minutes. So now with all this crazy stuff going on with COVID, and I've kind of mentioned it in my 30 seconds, they're doing a whole bunch of refrigerant changes. First it was get rid of, phase out of R22, took 30 years. And then they said push 410A on my customers. Gotta have Puron, the 410A, it's the new stuff, because it's better for the environment. Well, turns out it's not. Turns out they're gonna phase that out now, and that's only really been around since around 2007, but in 10 it became the law, and then they changed the SEER ratings in 13. Now they're already gonna phase it out, so as soon as 2023, 2024, they haven't set a date. It could take a while for the actual refrigerant to get phased out, but all the new equipment's gonna start coming from the factories, and we're buying it with a 410A replacement, which we still don't know what's going to be in it, but apparently it's heavy in propane based, so I don't know if it's going to take a lot of new training. I don't know what kind of alternatives they're going to have for people who already have 410A, but the prices are already going crazy. And now I've already got my truck full of different bottles, and I gotta add more bottles and more recovery machines. So I'm gonna have to buy another truck and carry a trailer around for all the refrigerant I'm gonna have to carry, because you don't even know what you're gonna come up with, because all the manufacturers can't even decide which alternative they're gonna pick. So I could get Carrier, Train, and the big names might not decide on the replacement. It could all come out with a different type of 410A replacement, and I'm gonna have to have a bottle for each one. And so that means it's gonna pass it on to who? You guys are gonna be paying so much more for equipment, not just with COVID. Everything's went up at least about 35% in the last 18 months. That's a bottom line. And this refrigerant's hard to get, parts are hard to get. Equipment, it depends on the day. We can get it some days, can't get it other days. But that's all I got for today. I mean, if anyone has any questions, you can ask a question.
Just testimonial. So I had that home warranty darn near 15 years now.
Yeah.
And I had people to be able to take care of a lot of the other stuff in the house, but I never had an AC or heater guy. And so I met William because I had an issue with the home warranty. As you know, they tried to rip me off, tried to say I needed this ductwork and everything done. It was looking about $1,500. I called William, $150 later, problem was resolved. He was there in 24 hours. Every time I need anything done with the AC or the heat in, I call William. He's straight up to the point, no BS, direct, and you get the job done quickly, and you come back if there's an issue, you come back and you make sure it's right. So I can't give you any higher testimony. You do an amazing job.
Well, they were sketchy because they left a breaker off on purpose.
Yeah, there's some shady stuff.
Lydia?
Two testimonials. He came to my salon. I was having problems with the little, I don't know, whatever you call it. But anyway, he came and he put this little thing and he says, whenever you need it, or I forgot. But anyway, he showed me, and then he came to my house and also did some work there for me. He's very honest, on time, very thorough, and he just tells you what you need, and he's not gonna jip you, so he's a man.
Yeah. Angie, did you have a comment?
I just have a question. Is it just you, or do you have an employee?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a one-man show, as they say. However, I use 1099. I have some trusted, guys that help me do installs when I get real busy. I mean, it'd be nice if I could find some people I can trust and grow someday. That's a whole nother.
Trust issue.
Yeah.
Do you have any kind of maintenance contracts or anything like?
I don't lock
monthly or-
lock people into a contract, but if you want, like Sam and some people want them done every day, I put you on an Outlook reminder, so same week, same 2 times a year.
Right.
I'll then text you or email you and says, hey, it's time, do you want to get it done?
So is that
We can
just
do it
like
that way.
your diagnostic
If you-
fee if you come out once a year, twice a year, or is it
Once a year minimum. I mean, you should have someone come out two times is max, but you get some of these companies that tell you need 4 times.
Yeah.
And a lot of those read the fine print, because big companies, I won't name their names, but there's 3 or 4 of them, they lock you in, and there's some fine writing in there that says if you cancel, then it voids the warranty from the original install when they put it in and then put you under contract. So you gotta be careful about contracts. Some are really contracts, you gotta read the fine print.
Dwayne?
I want to piggyback on what everyone else has said about William. Back a little over a year ago, we moved into a new studio, which is all electric. And I knew the electric bills had been running high because I'd seen the previous owner's bills. And I thought, well, I'll bring them down because we don't use that much electricity. Well, I couldn't bring it down. And so in February, I think it was February of it was last fall, wasn't it? Anyway, I forget when it exactly was, but I had William come out. He analyzed the system, saw that I had 2 old systems, recommended